Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we are here to talk week 9
Nine!
already.
Nine!
This is,
I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's perfect. Week 9 of the NFL season. At halftime, the Panthers will be exactly halfway through their season. So,
yeah.
there's that. Finally picked up our first victory last week. Oh, by the way, we're playing the Colts this week.
Yeah. Colts.
So there you
Gardner
go.
Minshew led Colts.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer. I was really looking forward to seeing AR when the schedule came out, and
Yeah, I did
back
too.
to back with. But I mean, we were gonna have back to back with Stroud, AR, and Fields. Kind of the three quarterbacks that we could have had, right? So that was going to be fun. But we'll have Gardner Minshew, another quarterback I guess we could have had at any time over the last few years. You and I have advocated for him.
Yeah, bring him in to be a backup / someone to challenge the starting jobs. But
yeah, well, turns out he doesn't have the greatest record as a starting quarterback, but we'll talk about that here in a few. I did not get to join you on the recap of our first victory last week. I had to work that Sunday. It was my first Sunday that I've had to work in many, many years. So,
so I had a couple YouTube comments, and I agree with them, saying that you have to now work every Sunday. So sorry.
Yeah, if we lose this game, then I'm gonna have to really look at that.
Yeah,
and make a business decision. But first of all, ecstatic that the Panthers won, right? Like, it's nice to see one in the win column. We're not going to go 0-17 as many Bears fans predicted that we would. So it is nice to see that. I thought offensively, good and bad, right? I thought Bryce looked good. I thought he looked really good, actually.
I did too.
I was extremely, extremely encouraged with how he looked. I thought that the receivers got more separation. They still weren't good, but I thought they schemed them better in this game, or in that game. Though we really have to get better talent at wide receiver to actually see what Bryce is, right? Like, we're just not going to get a full picture of what he is this year, unfortunately. But I was happy to see, that they were moving the ball well. Running, they didn't do anything in the run game. I mean, they averaged 1.8 yards per carry as a team. Terrible. I don't know how to fix that. I mean, Sanders only got 2 rushes. He rushed for 0 yards on it with a long of 4. So, not great there. Chuba, again, he got the bulk of the carries, but he didn't do much with them. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that run game, because it's just the run blocking is bad. The running backs themselves are, Chuba, we've seen flashes, but he's just not consistent enough to be that starting running back every week, right? So I'm hoping that they can, again, they're going to have to scheme something. They're just going to have to figure it out. Red zone play calling I thought was odd. I didn't love going for it on 4th down, especially the way they went for it on 4th down at the goal line there early in the game. Thought they should just kick the field goal. This team needs to take the points when they can. That's the new philosophy I think they should take. Like, if you've got 4th and 1 on your 20-yard line, just kick the field goal. You got 4th and an inch at the goal line, just kick the field goal. I really think that's what they should do, because the team's just not good. They're not scoring points offensively. They just don't score points. So if you've got an option to take the points, take the points. I mean, how big was 3 points in this game? Right?
Yeah.
That's how they won. So until they can actually start moving that ball forward 1 yard when they need it, 2 yards when they need it, even that 4th down on that last drive where Miles Sanders ran the wrong route and almost intercepted the pass to Thielen
Yeah.
or just got in the way. Like, I didn't love that play call on 4th and 2. It just, it worked out, but I
don't
didn't
know.
like the play
I
call at
think
all.
if Sanders runs the correct route, I think it's a lot better schemed up play.
True. It just looked bad.
It
the way
looked
that
bad because Sanders was.
Why is Sanders even out there running a route?
Because it was an empty set. That's just how the empty sets go, and you put the
Well,
wide receiver,
put
or you put
Blackshear
him
out
at the
there.
end.
Put somebody else out there. Someone who's good at football, right? Because Miles Sanders just, he didn't play hardly any. What did he play? 6 snaps, 4 snaps, something like that. Like, he wasn't out there much at all. I just don't think you put a cold player out there in that situation.
Oh, he played
Right.
12 snaps.
Okay, he played 12 snaps. Good job, Miles. Really earning that paycheck. But yeah, overall, the defense was incredible. Defense was great. We finally, they shut Stroud down completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some people kind of talking about, Stroud, he's at the point now to where he's kind of shown what he is, right? And now teams are adjusting.
100%.
Now you get to see what Stroud, how does he adjust to the adjustments, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get there with Bryce too, when because I feel like Bryce is starting to hit his stride, and I think he's gonna have a really good game this week. I think he's gonna have a really good game on that Thursday night, and then I think the week after that we're gonna start to see the readjustments for him as well. So I think we're gonna get there with Bryce too. So overall, up and down, but really happy we got the win. And excited to talk about this week. So let's get right into the news.
Well, before this, I do want to point out this one thing. With Thomas Brown calling plays, I felt like they got to the line a lot faster. They were able to make better reads at the line. I feel like that was a lot of a big problem with Frank Reich calling the plays. He was too busy, and the plays seemed, you said schemed up different. It felt like it was a variety instead of a panic spamming the same plays.
Yeah, agreed.
Even the run game, which didn't have success, I felt like they weren't all the same run plays.
Yeah, the run game, I don't know. I hope they focus on that this week in terms of how to make that productive.
But it starts with the O-line. The O-line has played like garbage.
I like that they did. I like that they continued to run the ball, even if it wasn't working. Like, I did like that they continued to do it. I do think that helped Bryce in the pass game. But yeah, I agree. I think Thomas Brown definitely brought something different to the offense, which is what we have been begging for.
Yes.
For the last 7 weeks, was just show us something different, and I liked it. Bryce still got sacked 6 times, which is just
10. Yeah.
Unacceptable, right? Again, what do they do? What do they do with the offensive line? What do they do with the running backs? We're stuck. We're stuck this year. So, Corbett, another week in, hopefully, you just keep the same guys out there week after week after week. Eventually, hopefully, they build some chemistry and they get better. Icky is going to really have to do some soul searching.
Yeah,
he has looked awful.
Like,
and I see the defenses for him. Like, well, look at this play, look at this play, look at this play. Okay, man, he looks bad. He looks bad almost every other play. Like, he'll have 3 or 4 really good plays a game, but he'll have 10 or 11 really bad plays a game, and he'll get bowled over. Like, he just gets run over sometimes. And that, you can't have your franchise left tackle looking like that.
I don't know what happened in the offseason. I know it's a slightly different scheme, but he's getting beat on stuff that he should not be beaten on. He's getting pushed over on stuff he shouldn't get pushed over on. It's easy for me to say that, but realistically, you were drafted as a top 10, the first tackle off the board.
Yeah.
You were known as a road grader that had the agility to play left tackle and be able to kick out. Yeah, it was your weakness, but you have played god awful.
After a pretty encouraging rookie year.
Yeah.
Right? Like he did not look nearly this bad last year. So I don't know if it's a sophomore slump. There are players that go through that. I don't know if he was just playing out of position, and it just had a really good, lucky rookie year. I don't know, but he's playing himself into left guard is what he's doing,
and that's not what we need.
No. Maybe he'll be a really good one though. If they can draft another left tackle that works out, I mean, maybe that side of the line is amazing, but he's not. It doesn't look good right now.
So let's go ahead and look at the little bit of news that has happened this week. Starting off, the big kind of news, big non-news, no trades.
Yeah.
For the Panthers.
Yeah, so I was surprised. Mainly because it seems like they always make a trade, especially under Fitterer. They always do something, even if it's small. They always do something. They always trade away a Robbie Anderson, or they bring in, a CJ Henderson, or they do something, right? But I guess their big trade this year was moving up to number 1 and taking Bryce Young, and they either didn't get enough offers or good offers for these guys, or maybe Tepper was like, you know what, Fitterer, you're not going to be here next year. Let's take the keys away.
I would not be shocked that was what happened. I think any trade that you got rid of Brian Burns was going to be a loss.
And it sounded like they weren't even entertaining.
That's smart, because anything you do as Fitterer, you're tied to turning down those 2 first-round draft picks. You're going to look bad, because no matter what, no one's offering that again.
Do you think if someone did offer that, like, let's say the Bears were like, instead of trading for Sweat, they were like, we'll give you your first-round pick back, and then we'll give you a 2025 first. Do you think they'd have taken it this year? This time would Fitterer have taken that?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, he should have taken it the first time. Let's be honest. Much as I like Brian Burns, that's a king's ransom.
I still don't understand the not paying him. I think you've
if you're not going to pay him,
you backed yourself at the corner. I mean,
yeah.
But the no trades, I was shocked. I wasn't shocked. I thought someone like a Terrace Marshall, a Dante Jackson, someone lower on the depth chart. Maybe we don't really have any quality backups like Camus, Rougier, Hill, like something like that. I could have saw.
Yeah, but we need him. Like, he's playing major minutes.
I was gonna say, due to the injuries, I don't think he's expendable. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, nobody was gonna offer us anything for Miles Sanders. I saw a lot of people begging for us to trade him. Not at that salary, and we're not getting anything. We couldn't give him away for free. Like, we would have had to do a
Brock Osweiler trade.
Right. I was trying to think of his name. We would have to do a trade where we include a pick just to get rid of him.
Here's Miles Sanders, a 3rd-round pick, and you give us a 5th-round pick back.
Right. Here's Miles Sanders, and you can have Dante Jackson for free. But, even that.
Yeah.
Dante Jackson making $11 million a year. Like, maybe somebody gives you a 7th-round pick for him. That's not worth it, in my opinion.
No, especially the way he played last week.
Yeah, and then we see what wide receivers get traded for. They get traded for peanuts. Even the really good ones get traded for mid-round picks. Nobody was giving up anything of significance for Terrace Marshall Jr. And if you're only going to get a 7th for him, just keep him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like, there's, in my opinion, if you can't get like a 5th-round pick at best for him, then just keep him.
Eventually,
and I'd play him.
I would too, but
we'll talk about him in a few minutes. But I'd play him. I'd put him out there.
I mean, it's not like the other guys are getting a lot of separation.
Yeah, and in terms of them going out and like bringing in a wide receiver or something like that, we've talked about this many times, where unless you were getting like a young receiver with some years left on his deal, I didn't understand what the motivation was to do it this year. Because the wide receiver core, the wide receiver free agent list next year is pretty deep, and the draft pool is pretty deep next year. Like you've got some good guys going in the second, third round next year in the draft. So, unless you were going to get a young guy with a lot of years left on his deal, and those guys really aren't out there.
No.
Like, so that didn't surprise me. They didn't do that, but yeah, a quiet one, which is rare. Like I said, I mean, normally we do something, but this year they didn't. So kind of a disappointment for me.
Now moving on to some good news. Linebacker Frankie Louvu won NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He was awesome. I mean, he was one of the key reasons why they won that game.
Is that the second one he's won this year? Did he win first or second week? I don't remember. I know he's won one. I know he's won it in previous years. Frankie Louvu is amazing. Like, Jerry, I put a poll out on the MeowMix Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. Yeah. I put a poll out after the game and just like, if you could only re-sign one, Brian Burns or Frankie Louvu, who are you re-signing? The majority said Frankie Louvu. It was like 60-40. Frankie Louvu.
Yeah.
What's your answer to that?
It's really hard.
Taking everything into account.
I think you say Brian Burns just because it's so much harder to get a pass rusher. That being said, I do think Frankie Louvu is a better leader on this team, and he seems to lead by example.
And he's cheaper.
And cheaper.
He's definitely not going to be a $30 million a year player.
I mean, the position he plays, I know technically they're both linebackers, but
yeah. Well, and I think they're misusing Frankie Louvu. Like, I think they could be using him in a much more effective way. But, I mean, I think I'd go to Louvu if you're asking, like, I'm asking myself. But if you're asking me to choose between the two, given everything, finances and, just impact on the field, I feel like Frankie Louvu is more consistently impactful than Brian Burns is.
He has been, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, congrats to Frankie. Guy that you and I loved him when he came in as a borderline practice squad guy a few years ago.
Well, we were like, okay, yeah, good depth, whatever. We'll see how he turns out. And then during that first season, we were like, he needs to see the field more. That dude's like a lightning bolt.
I mean, in training camp, we saw it. We were like, oh my God, they might have found something here. And then slowly they slowly integrated him more and more and more during the season. And yeah, I mean, he's finally now, really getting what he deserves, which is praise and time.
We did a podcast with a Jets fan podcast, and we were talking about how excited we were that Louvu was going to start the next year. And they were like, you mean the practice squad guy or the special teamer guy? We were like, no, he made some plays, and now he's he's a fringe Pro Bowler probably this year.
Typical Jets fan. Yeah, I think he's earned a Pro Bowl consideration at the very least. But
that's why I say I can't say surefire Pro Bowler, but when it's
of all the players on the team, I think he's the guy, right? Like, there's nobody else that. I mean, you can maybe say Burns, but he just hasn't been consistent enough. True. Thielen's going to put up 1,500 yards this year, so that deserves at least consideration, right? All right. Well, let's take a look at some PFF grades from last week. We'll just look at a few. Terrace Marshall actually led the team with an 83.3. Now, he only played 4 snaps. And, you and I were talking before we started this, and I was like, yeah, should we just remove him from consideration in this list? But, you mentioned that when he's out there and he's targeted, he usually comes down with the ball.
Yeah.
And why are they not playing him more?
I mean, that when Jonathan Mingo was out, what do you have? 9 catches, 70, 60 yards?
9 on 10. Yeah. 9 on 10.
I mean, it was like, they weren't deep, but he was catching the ball.
I think it was like 56 yards or something.
That was a bad scheming again. But I mean, it's like, why are we seeing Adam Thielen 65? We're seeing Jonathan Mingo 66. Like, can we not see him a little bit too? Like, I feel like there has to be room out there, right? Like,
Yeah,
come
I mean,
on.
I don't get it. Like, I mean, he hasn't. Again, he's not someone who's going to get you 150 yards, but who on the team is other than Thielen? And that's only because they're just giving him 13 targets a game.
Uh,
You know, like,
so here it is. Adam Thielen had 65 snaps. Jonathan Mingo had 66. And DJ Shark had 62. So 3 receiver sets 62 times. You can't really mix that up and put Terrace Marshall over, I mean, DJ Shark. Like, the way he's playing, you really can't do that occasionally, see if he can get some sparks. Or even mix it up. Like, maybe Adam Thielen might need a, breath. He is a little bit older.
well, I mean, the thing is, like, when Terrace Marshall is out there, he gets Bryce Young targets him. Like, Bryce Young throws him the ball. He's had some drops here and there, but I do feel like, especially now that you're keeping him, let's just see what you got. Like, give him 15 snaps a game. You can fit it in there. You can't tell me that these other receivers are just too good to sit down. No, that's not the case. We know that's not the case.
I get not wanting to sit Jonathan Mingo. This coaching staff drafted him and have a lot of love for him. I get not wanting to bench Mingo for him, but DJ Shark, he has not produced hardly at all.
And you're not using him to his best abilities either.
No.
You're not letting him go deep. You're not doing anything. So I would honestly split, at least for a little bit, maybe not split 50-50, but 75-25 to Shark and get Terrace Marshall out there some.
Yeah, I want to see 15, 20 snaps from him and see what we've got from him. He was a second-round player who was tall, fast, and a decent receiver at LSU.
Well, I think we know what we've got, but I'd still like to see it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But so he was number 1, Thielen number 2, Bryce Young. Nice to see him in the top 5, number 3. And then Blackshear, Steven Sullivan, tight end. I think, was this his first game since he's been out of?
No, I think he was
of IR
last week too.
Okay. Well, good to see him back as well. And then Mingo ended up 6th. So since Terrace only had 4 targets, and our bottom 5 here: Throckmorton, Bozeman, Icky. So I mean, that's 3 of your 4, or 3 of your 5 starting offensive linemen are the 12th, 13th, and 14th players. Then Chark and Hayden Hurst just not involved at all.
Yeah, I think Hurst better watch out, because I think he's on pace to get the Miles Sanders treatment of falling down that depth chart.
Fitterer did a terrible job. Outside of Thielen, Fitterer did a terrible job with these big signings on offense.
Yeah.
Because Hurst wasn't a cheap player either.
No.
They re-signed Bozeman. He's not been very good. Like, I like Bozeman a lot as a person, but as a player, he's not been very good this year.
No.
Which you could say about the whole offensive line, but yeah. All right, defense.
Louvu starts it out at number 1 with his parents watching. Dante Jackson came in second at 77.3. Had an 86.4 coverage grade. Hats off to you, man.
Yeah.
I think he really kind of kept them in check.
He's one of the big reasons that we held CJ Henderson to pretty low yardage. Like, CJ Henderson, CJ Stroud to pretty low yardage. So good job, Dante.
No, CJ Henderson is why he got yardage.
Right. CJ Henderson not in the top 5 of PFF grades.
LeBrian Ray, 70.9, 28 snaps.
Sure.
Deshaun Williams, 69.0, 29 snaps. Hats off to you boys. I mean, 2 guys I don't think you ask 80% of the Panthers on the street, fans on the street will know their names, but hats off to you guys.
I think Deshaun Williams had a pretty big tip at the line. at some point. I remember
It,
that. So yeah, good job
it,
by him.
yeah. Uh, Camus Grugier Hill, number 5, only played 19 snaps.
Yeah.
And now let's look at the bottom 5. We have Xavier Woods coming off that injury. Nick
Big play
Thurman.
though. He had a real big play, fumble recovery.
Yeah.
So that was massive, massive play. And also he had an 84.8 tackle grade, which is something that you don't see a lot on this team.
Yeah,
Is
this
good
team
tackling.
needs to learn how to tackle. I don't know why Evero hasn't. Yeah. Nick Thurman, nose tackle, 20 snaps. It's hard for me to grade a nose tackle that low.
Yeah.
Especially when the right ends were doing so dominant, and Derek Brown's another force. He's just a space eater, chewing up a blocker or two. Brian Burns. Brian Burns, 50.2, 25.6 on his tackling. And I think we've seen that before. Sam Franklin, he's had good games, but this was not one of them.
Yeah, he's an up and down guy.
Glad that Bell should be coming back this week. And DJ Johnson, the reach for the third is in last at 33.9.
DJ Johnson, younger than Chase Young, or older than Chase Young.
Yeah,
I found that out this week. That's crazy.
Yeah, I thought he had a couple big plays, but I guess I was completely wrong because I also didn't think he had 29 snaps. So,
right. All right. Well, you want to take a quick break?
We will take a quick break and be right back. MeowMix is brought to you by Magic Mind.
Have you ever felt, Jerry, that you're kind of lacking focus? You're tired, you're stressed, you just can't get things done in the way that you feel like you should?
Not recently.
I feel like that. Well, I wonder why. I have felt like that many times. But I tell you what, since I've started using Magic Mind, which is a delicious, well, it's a drink. It's
I'm not gonna lie, it's a drink, but it has helped me focus. It helps me stay up. Like, instead of drinking coffee or caffeine throughout the day, it's still sluggish and wanting to take that mid-afternoon nap. Like, I don't feel that when I take Magic Mind. Like, I'll take my normal caffeine with it, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of the day, I'm still going strong. I don't need that nap. I continue on. I go pick up Evelyn. I go home. I play with her. We play in the backyard. And I'm still wide awake up until about nighttime. And then I don't have the jitters or anything out. No zombie eyes looking at the clock. I go to sleep normally. It really does work. I'm telling you.
I mean, after lunch at work, like, I always hit this wall where I'm just like, oh my God, I just can't. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to go home and go to sleep. And that hasn't happened since we got our samples of Magic Mind. It's definitely, and again, it makes me sleep better. It's not a sleep supplement or anything. It's not made for that. But because I feel better throughout the day, I'm not forgetting to do things. I'm productive at work. Like, I go to sleep feeling better about what I did in the day and feeling better about what's coming up the next day. So it's just, I don't know. It's positive all around. There's no negatives to it. And it's got all the natural ingredients. Like, it's not created in some lab. Like, you don't have anything artificial, right? You've got your matcha, Jerry. Matcha man. You got your matcha. That's in everything that's good for you these days, it seems like. Also, your lion's mane mushrooms. I know those are your favorite.
Yeah, they're big and fluffy.
Yeah. I mean, you get your cordyceps mushrooms. Just several different types of mushrooms. Yep. And mushrooms are great. They're good for you, except the bad ones.
Yeah.
And don't just eat random mushrooms. But these mushrooms are good.
Yes. Go to magicmind.com/meow and use promo code meow20 to get 20% off a one-time purchase. And what is it? Like 56% off?
56% off your subscription within the next few days. So check that out.
Magic
Meow20.
Mind.
All right, let's get into this game preview, Jerry. It is against the Indianapolis Colts, who are favored, but only by 2.5 points. So Vegas liked what we did last week.
Yeah. Or they don't like what Indianapolis has done the past couple of weeks, but whatever.
Well, there is that. Yeah, Indianapolis without AR has not been the same team. Over-under in this game is 44, so expecting a low-scoring game. But if you're feeling good about the Panthers, getting those points is definitely something. So
yeah,
don't know that I'll be betting on this game,
versus strength and weakness versus weakness.
True. It is a home game, a 4:05 game.
Weird.
Which is I don't love.
I hate 4:00 games.
I don't love the 4:00.
Because then what do I do?
Games, I get it if you're going to Arizona or something, but why is it a 4:05 game here?
It makes no sense. I mean, if it was a primetime game, I could see it, but it's not a game that people are going to go really watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch it. You're going to watch it. People in Indianapolis are going to watch it.
Sure.
But the casual fan in San Francisco doesn't care.
It's not going to be a nationally broadcast game. I maybe if it was Bryce Young versus AR and both of them had been, really, really hyped and productive all year, I maybe that's what they were counting on, but I don't know. All right, let's take a look at the injury reports real quick.
All right, you keep jumping over my trivia.
Oh, you have trivia sorry.
I kept moving it down our schedule here. I was like, quit jumping it. Quit jumping it. I put it where your cursor was and everything.
Well, you didn't tell me you had trivia, Jerry. Sorry. Go ahead. You should have made it really big.
Well, the Panthers have played Indianapolis 7 different times. They did play them with Frank Reich as a quarterback on this team one time. So in 1995, can you guess who was the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts?
Ooh.
And we won, by the way, just to let you know.
Was it like Trent Dilfer or something?
No. Close. I will give you a hint. He is a current head coach.
Was it Harbaugh?
Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. All right.
It looks like he got knocked out during the game because he only had 12 attempts, and Paul Justin came in. So
well, I'm glad he wasn't the starter because I don't know who that person is.
And if he was, I was going by Jim Harbaugh because I knew that name, and I knew he was a starter in the NFL for a while.
All right, cool. Good trivia, Jerry. Good trivia. I do not have any trivia for you this week, but I will make sure that I have some next week.
Okay.
All right. Injury reports. Unfortunately, the Panthers list is fairly long, although it doesn't look as bad as it did yesterday. So DJ Chark, limited practice. Claudin Shirelis, DMP. Troy Hill, full practice after a DMP yesterday.
It was Justin an illness. He'll probably be fine.
He should play. Yeah. Justin Houston, DNP yesterday and today. Not looking good there. Hayden Hurst, DNP yesterday. Full practice day, also an illness. Something's going around, I guess. Taylor Moton, DNP yesterday, but limited practice today, so trending in the right direction. LaVisca, another DNP for him. Von Bell, limited practice. It'd be good to get him back. Brian Burns, limited practice. I don't think there's any reason to think he won't play. Corbett, limited practice. Luvu, limited practice. Chandler Wooten, limited practice. Raheem Blackshear, full practice after a limited practice yesterday. Xavier Woods, limited. And Cade Mays, full practice. So Cade Mays not on the injury report yesterday and then on it today, but listed as a full participant. So weird there.
I think they're probably just making sure, he got treatment. We're putting him on the list just so they don't get fined.
I guess. For the Colts, you've got Julius Brents as a DNP, Zaire Franklin as a DNP, Braden Smith is a DNP, and then Blake Freeland is a DNP. Deo, defensive end, limited practice. Kylan Granson, full practice. Eric Johnson, full practice, and then Josh Downs, limited practice. So no, I don't know, are any of those guys essential to the Colts that are DNPs?
I don't think so. I mean,
none of their names.
My expertise of the Colts, unfortunately, goes around Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, and Gardner Minshew.
No, I mean they have a good they have some good defensive players, Shaq Leonard and stuff like that, Buckner, but I don't know.
Their defense has not been amazing this year.
I mean, I guess it's a new scheme, but yeah, that's kind of surprising that they're struggling as much.
They're bottom third of the league in both passing and rushing defense, but so opportunity is going to be there. But let's talk about some of the keys to the Panthers' victory.
Yes, I put this one in after the game last week. You have to capitalize on the red zone opportunities. I agree we don't need to go for on all the fourth downs, but we do need to score touchdowns. We need to game plan, not run up the middle every time on goal lines when you're getting no yardage.
Yeah, and what I was saying before, like sort of tongue in cheek, but they need to score points.
Yeah.
Right? They need to score points. And if they're not going to be able to score touchdowns, then I would prefer them to kick field goals than to, turn the ball over on fourth down, right? But 100%, like they've got to figure out what's going on in the red zone and why they can't get the ball in the end zone. And a lot of it does have to do with really bad run blocking. Mm-hmm. So again, they're just gonna have to scheme around it and figure it out. But I agree, capitalize on those red zone opportunities, because honestly, they move the ball pretty well as an offense. Most weeks they move the ball pretty well. They just don't score.
I think what they need to start doing is using a lot more motion. I need to see DJ Shark do an end around once in a while. I think even fake end arounds, because they're really not doing that much motions or pre-snap stuff. I get Bryce Young's a rookie, but I think that will also help weaken up the defensive line to help the offensive line get better blocks, get them on their toes, if that makes sense.
They just need to play more to what their strengths are and not try to force these plays that we just don't have the personnel to run, right? But figure out what plays do work for the personnel and do that. Next key here is we're gonna have to stop the Colts run game. I mean, if they're gonna beat you, they're gonna beat you running the ball. They're not gonna beat you with Gardner Minshew passing for 400 yards. Like, that's just not gonna happen.
No.
But they've got Zach Moss, they got Jonathan Taylor, Jonathan Taylor's kind of ramping back into game shape, right? So, both those guys averaging almost 5 yards a carry.
I was going to say ramping up is still 4.5 yards per carry. Like, that's
right. Right. I'm saying, like, he's only had 44 carries though. So he's still kind of getting back into the flow. But, if this is the week where he breaks out, and I hope it's not, but it wouldn't shock me.
Oh, not only that, I mean, the Panthers' run defense has struggled this year. Yeah. It really badly, to be honest with you. If you give me a second, I can.
We're fourth from the last in the league. Giving 140 yards a game is what we give up on the ground.
Not good, guys.
But they're like 6th in the league in pass defense. So they only give up 186 yards passing, but giving up almost 140 yards rushing, that's 300 yards.
Why risk the pass if you can run for 5 yards a carry? I mean,
yeah. Again, and a lot of it is the Panthers have been in short fields, or the defense has been in short fields because the offense has turned the ball over. So the offense is, I feel like, trending in the right direction in terms of not turning the ball over as much. It's going to help the defense out. We saw it last week. The defense was great against, I think, an offense that is talent-wise Not any worse than what the Colts are bringing overall, right? Running the ball, sure. But in terms of passing and, the receivers, I feel like Houston's probably better in that regard, right? Than the Colts.
I would say, yeah. I mean, I really like what the Houston has in their pass catchers and stuff. I think Michael Pittman Jr. and I think Josh Downs are two good young players. I think Josh Downs, I kind of wish we had drafted him, but we wanted a bigger body guy.
I guess he tweaked his knee in practice because he was not on the injury report Wednesday, and he's listed as a limited participant with a knee.
Yeah.
Today, so
I expect
it's possible that he may play, but he may not be 100%. So
yeah, I mean, and that's what he is, a speedy guy. He's averaging 11 yards per receptions. I mean, 40 catches on 56 targets.
Sure,
that's almost 500 yards.
He would be by far the second best receiver.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like the guy could play. He's small, but he could play. I mean, for goodness sakes, I guess you had to put Dante Jackson on him and hope C.J. Henderson can do decent against Pittman, because honestly, Henderson will get dusted every time he's on downs.
Well, I have a feeling that their game plan is going to be run the ball as much as they possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
The Panthers' game plan needs to be stop the run, make them throw the ball, invite them to throw the ball, because Gardner Minshew makes mistakes. Right? He turns the ball over quite a bit. So make him throw the ball. Create turnovers, something the Panthers have not done a lot this year. Create some turnovers. Get some short fields. Like, we talk about that a lot. But again, until they start doing these things, we're going to keep talking about them and telling them they need to do it.
Well, and Gardner Minshew does turn the ball over too. I mean, as much as I like Minshew, I think he's a decent player. He does hand the ball over. Like, what is he, 4 or 5 interceptions already on the season? He just wrote 5. He has 5 interceptions, and he's played 4 games. Realistically, 4 games.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he will give you opportunities, and the Panthers are not a good enough team to not take advantage of those opportunities when they're given to them. So they're just going to have to capitalize. What's our next key here, Jerry?
It should be the key to the Panther season. Protect Bryce Young. You can't let him get hit 10 times. You can't let any quarterback get hit 10 times in a game. That's just unacceptable in the NFL. Now, everybody complain, oh, Bryce Young is so small, he's going to get hurt. I am sorry. Whoever said that should be eating their words right now, because he's been hit more times the beginning half of this season than most quarterbacks get hit during the full season. He has played like a trooper. He hasn't really been injured. He did tweak his ankle and miss 1 game, but I personally think that was more of I
think it was a reset for him. Give him a week off more than anything. But yeah, I agree. Like, he pops up after he gets hit. It doesn't seem to affect him. He's not a guy that's out there screaming at his offensive line. He's not a guy that's throwing him under the bus after the game. He's
a great leader, man. He really is.
Yeah, it's really admirable how professional he is, right? How mature he is for as young as he is. It's it really bodes well. Like, honestly, I'm not ready to say that, that I don't know. I like Bryce.
So here's the thing: is JJ Jansen was on the WFNZ show. I think it was their morning show, and he was talking about, first of all, he said that Houston jumped off sides a 3rd time, and that according to the rule, if they missed the kick, we still would have been awarded the points. But that being said,
did the refs know that, I wonder?
I don't know. But either way, they were talking about giving Bryce the game ball from Frankie Louvu, and they were like, wow, it looks like everybody was over there congratulating Bryce and everybody, and I was like, he was like, yeah, he's like, he's a leader, man. He's the leader of this team. He's walked in, he's never said anything negative, but he's always there to cheer you up, go for it, and stuff like that. He was just really glowing about how he was.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you can see it.
Yeah.
And the players, I mean, no one has even said anything that would be considered, passive aggressive. Like they're just, everyone is just very positive about him. And like I said, he seems to be getting it. Like the offense he seems to be growing into the offense, and the future's bright.
It really is. I think Bryce is a great leader, and he's so accurate. So he's so, like, I was watching tape, and I was watching it on YouTube, JT O'Sullivan's podcast, and he goes through all his passes and stuff like that. And he's just like, the receivers can't get separations. The O-line is horrible, but Bryce is out here reading the defense, escaping pass rushers, and making the good play. He's anticipating correctly everything before breaks and stuff, and it's good, guys. I mean, the team around him needs to get better. The players around him need to play better, but he's a real quarterback.
Fire Fitterer. Let's put a good team.
You know what? At this point, I don't want to say fire Fitterer, because my thing is, I'm tired of getting a GM and forcing him into with a coach. If we fire Fitterer, I want Frank Reich gone. I want a whole reset on personnel.
Yeah.
We have been doing it backwards too many years.
Yeah.
Too many.
Fitterer is just not good, though.
I agree. He
completely whiffed on this offseason.
I agree.
Again, he brought in Thielen, but he brought in Thielen because he overpaid, honestly. Now Thielen is, worth the money so far, but in 2 years, is he going to be worth the money? Like, I don't know. Vastly overpaid for Miles Sanders when nobody was paying for running backs, right? And it's proven out to be a terrible decision. Should have just kept Deontay Foreman, paid him $1 million. Like, honestly, would have been great. So I don't know, man. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, the cycle is off. The GM head coach cycle is off. So we'll see. All right. We do have a beer bet here.
Beer bet of the week.
And we were talking, and many are saying that Bryce Young is going to have his best game of the year. Many say that he's going to break the 300-yard barrier. And Jerry, I believe that you agree with those people.
Yes, I think this is going to be Bryce Young's best game of his season. I think he throws for over 300 yards. My bold prediction, jumping straight into that, is over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Dang, that is bold. Yeah, I think he's going to go under 300, not by much, but I think that they're actually going to be able to run the ball on the Colts a little more, and I think they're going to focus on that. I think last week's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth, so they're going to go, they're going to make sure that they run the ball. And I think Chuba is going to have a big game, over 125 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for Chuba this week.
Nice. I mean, I'll be happy with anything like that. Like,
yeah, for real. All right. Any other thoughts on the Colts game before we wrap this thing up?
We got to just do our game predictions.
Game predictions.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There is one last thought.
Yeah.
This is a rivalry game for Frank Reich.
That is true.
Now, something I didn't discuss, and J.J. Jansen did talk about how, the players do know that, and they are looking at that for him because they do like Frank. Frank's we could discuss many different things, but it seems like that's a legit good guy. So,
sure. I mean, he's probably a great person.
Yeah. And it seems like the players want to play for him. That's what I'm saying, that they're going to try to win this one for Frank.
Yeah. Whatever motivation they need, or whatever helps them win, like I'm all for it. Because they really, honestly, like last week, this week, and next week, tons of storylines, tons of reasons why the Panthers really need to win these games. So, all right, game predictions. Yeah, I do think the Panthers are going to win this one. Gonna be up to 2-6 after this week. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna go crazy in my prediction like I did last week, but I think the Panthers are gonna score more than 20. So I'm gonna go 24-14 Panthers.
Indianapolis has given up 28 points per game, 38 the last 3, while Carolina has given up only 32 the last 3. So I'm also going to go Carolina 28, going big, but I think our defense holds strong and keeps them down to like 24, 28-24.
All right, that'll work. Okay, well, let's take a very, very quick look at the other NFC South games here. We got the Falcons hosting Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think Dobbs is going to start this week, but unfortunately, the Falcons are getting the Vikings at a great time.
Yeah.
Although this could be one of those like rally around, prove everybody wrong type games for the Vikings. So that's what we have to hope for. Bucks are getting the Texans, so bounce back game for CJ Stroud, hopefully. And the Bears are going to play the Saints. Unfortunately, again, I don't know if Fields is going to play, so they might have that backup. I don't know, man. It seems like 2 of the 3 NFC South teams are really getting lucky this week. So we need these guys to lose because, as crazy as it is, the Panthers are 2.5 games out of first place, Jerry. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I am really trying not to look at standings right now in that sense at one game in
we saw what happened last year.
No, I agree. And once we get on that roll, I will start looking at it. But one game at a time right now for me, my friend, and it is Jerry, Indianapolis this week.
If we win this game next week, we're going to need to go over playoff scenarios.
Deal.
That's all I'm saying. All right. All right. I think that's going to do it.
Yeah, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter, not X. I refuse to do that, at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We will be back, I guess, Sunday evening after the game. To hopefully talk about Panthers victory, but again, we'll be here either way. So until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.